Hey there, this is Minypots with another video, but something a little bit unusual. I discuss or reflect on a couple games that I had played. And I will have some pictures of the map and some thoughts on the map that I played on. So there's two different maps that I went with. Um, so my first game was I had my tribe. I randomly assigned my 10 tribal guys numbers and rolled and chose them that way. The stipulation was that I had a shaman. He wasn't going to go hunting, and that was really it. And so I got everyone together. They did a hunt, and here you should see a picture of it. You can see it's very sparse. Um, it went okay. I went up against some bison and three, two adults and one youth, and there's a way you figure out if one's a youth or not. So they could have all been three adults, but it worked out this way. Or conversely, it could all be three um, calf, yeah, calf bison. Anyway, so I was here. Everything went well. I didn't have weapons because when I bought my crew members, my tribal guys and gals, I didn't buy spears or clubs or anything like that. Don't do that. Buy a couple spears at least. That's would be about 6 points, maybe a little bit less, and that would give you buy some other things too. But for sure, buy the spears. Why? Well, it became apparent in the next game I played. But anyway, so I was throwing rocks at these guys, and it went okay. It was several turns, about 5 or 6 turns. I managed to down one of the adults bison and one of the calf bison, and I didn't take any hits. I didn't take any damage, and I then packed up and I considered it a victory. I ended the game. The other bison, the third one, ran off the table edge. You go through the end of the game sequence, and I'll do this probably in more detail in the future. Um, but these are more about the thoughts. And in setting up the board, he recommends, or he has a system where you take a deck of cards, and you shuffle it and you mix it up. And I like it. It seems a little bit fiddly, but if you were and your opponent were playing, so two people, you would each of you would have cards, and you could see here. So I'm playing on a 3x3 square. So when I set up this hunting board, I had one of my cards in each square foot approximate. It's not quite 3 square feet. It's closer to 2 feet 10 inches, 2 feet 11-inch square. The so you can see where any face card, if it's a heart, it's going to be empty space. Um, Face card that's a diamond is going to be a crevasse or deep water. Now, I didn't get hung up if I didn't have pre-made terrain that fit this description, which is kudos for me because believe me, I would definitely normally get hung up and I couldn't play until I carved a little crevasse. Or I do have a couple water pieces, and I do have some trees. Um, and I do have some boulders and rocks, and I used books for the next game I played. I had some books that I used for the hills, but by only having one card, the terrain was not as dense as I felt it should be. So, but I had a good game. It was fun. I learned. So the next game, again, I looked at it and I said, well, I don't have any. I hadn't received new caveman minis yet. So It's got to be a hunt. So you roll a die, and let's see if it has how it actually says how you do it. And I know this is real exciting. Um, so you might see that I'm going to fast forward this part of it, but we will see. I forget where I found it. So you have a choice right here. This is on page 23 of a hunt or a raid. I'm only going to do 2 bands, I think. I could easily see having 3 or 4. Um, get very crunchy though. So I chose a hunt for this is the second game. I did the same for the first game. And okay, so I chose a hunt. So on a 1 or 2, you must first play a hunted scenario. Well, the hunted means that I had this group of minis that were going to track me down and possibly make dinner out of me. Not too cool, at least according to my thoughts. And I looked at it. I was like, okay, I'd already built, I had completed my first hunt. I then went into working out everything and I built some tools and I tried to invent something and the invention didn't go well, but I built 2 spears, 3 clubs, and some carrying satchels. And why did I do that? Because when you gather, it gives you 1 more extra food for the season. So that way, if something happened and I didn't have enough people, I thought, you know, I have this extra sack here, so I can stick an extra bit of food in it. And so I equipped a couple guys with the 2 spears and then a couple clubs, and I had 1 rock thrower. The rock throwing is working out for me. The problem is I think that it's going to be more of a problem as time goes on with the penetration or the wound to wound roll. So my first game, I didn't realize you roll to hit, then you roll to wound, and so I was doing a roll to hit, and I assumed that if you hit, it's like some games you hit if you're over the opponent's roll, um, you hit and you do as much damage as the difference. So you can see where that created a problem. So this new game, this where I was being hunted by the primals, I was hitting them, but I wasn't able to do damage to them because their toughness was such a number that it just wasn't happening. And it did not matter how many times I hit them, and which was quite frustrating. I did get one, and you'll see it in the pictures. which I should be showing or have shown, where I get 2 wounds on one of the primals. Meanwhile, while I got that, they turned around and killed 2 of my guys or 2 of my tribal guys, and I decided to retreat because it was going to probably go to a total party kill, total wipeout. I had to leave my guys there, but there's a condition where you roll dice and did they survive? Did they not? So it could go either way. So I was not without hope that these 2 might have a chance of surviving. You have to roll really high. It's like a 99 or 100 to get them, like they got captured but escaped type of thing, which I liked. And but you can see the differences between the boards. So the second game, in addition to the different gameplay, and I still actually need to do one more game to complete my second season. So I did something different than the rules than what I should have done, but that's neither here nor there. I'll go into it in a second. So I placed, because it's set up for 2 players. Even though you can play solo, it's the design of the game is such that it became apparent to me that it's probably better to have more terrain. It doesn't matter if, because the scenarios will tell you, don't set up things in the center of the board or off to the side, set up this, or most of the board should be a forest with a path running through the middle type of thing. So I then set up 2 cards, and I had a much denser board, even though the terrain looks a little bit wonky because I don't really have some things, but I'm working on it. And this did not bother me, not having the things, which I'm happy with. And you notice I'm also playing with unpainted minis, um, because I haven't had a chance to paint my primals. I have everyone now primed, but at the time I played the game and took the pictures, I didn't. And so if I was playing with a normal game, in each square foot, you would have your divided in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 2 cards would go there, 2 cards there, 2 cards there, and you'd flip it and you decide. And it was working out okay. And I was happier with the terrain, so I would have bushes and forest, rocks and more rocks, rocks and bushes, um, water feature and trees or forest, and it was working out okay. Rocks and rocks, a hill, it was working out okay, and I was happier with that. So my suggestion in setup is do 2 cards per square foot, and then make it up. Um, do what looks best, what you feel. This is truly a game where more terrain is better. And when you hunt, there's a provision where it says the center of the board should be mainly grasslands or something. So of course it makes sense. You have your elk, you have your bison, you have your water or your woolly mammoth or your woolly rhino, and they're going to be in the grassy stuff because that's the best fodder for them. And so that makes sense. And you have to be willing to accommodate and realize that, hey, not all your trees are going to be pretty, whatever, just do something. And that's what I did with it. And I was happy with that. And even though I lost 2 of my people, I still had a good game. There was movement forward, which I was happy about, and it was fun. Now, something else. It suggests starting in winter. Well, because who I am and it's my game, I didn't want to start in winter. I wanted to start in spring. Makes sense, right? beginning of the new year, whatever. But there is something that happens at the end of winter where you mature your babies into full blown um, cave people. And I'm going to have to play at least 2 more games before I get that to mature my kids, my little ones. So I'm going to have to play it real safe, real cautious. Now, of course, I just had a lousy roll and I got hunted. And what else can I say? I did choose the option to start with the most people, so at least I have 10. I do have 2 elders, and they can fight, but they're not. There's a couple things they don't move as far, and their toughness, even though it is higher, um, there's something else that they don't have. Um, they don't necessarily get an automatic, or they don't get a chance to get a new skill as frequently. Anyway, as I remember, and my takeaway, it's a fun game. I enjoyed playing with it. Setup, even though it seems fiddly, use the card setup. It's a little bit random, and it's sort of like how the world is, where you will have rocks in the midst of forest, or you will have bushes and rocks and forest, and it doesn't quite make sense, but you can always fudge it and say, hey, I don't like this, so I'm going to switch these 2 cards here, and so it looks better. Especially if you're playing solo. If you and your opponent do something, you can figure out something on your own, where you swap out stuff. Or so that's where I'm at. I am down 2 folks right now, and I'm going to have to go out and do a real hunt. I was thinking of considering it because I didn't bring anything back from it. Um, and now you can see I can do some elk at least. Um, I have I will do, maybe you can't see. I can do some elk, and each critter will give you like D5 plus 2, and each one of your tribal folks that's an adult need 2 food to get you through the season unless it's winter. Um, so you can see where the hunt is the most profitable. But make your tools. Go with spears. Go with clubs. Go with flint um, knives. They will make a difference. And at some point, I'll be ready to. I'm getting some new equipment, but that's in a different video. Um, I will do a playthrough or 2 or 3, and we'll take it from there. This is just some thoughts on Hide, Stone, and Bone. Hopefully, you got something out of this, and thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe.